Hey everybody, what is going on today? Welcome to another Photoshop CS6 tutorial. Today we're going to be working with shape layers, and you can get those from using the pen tool, or you can use the shape tool. So go ahead and just open up a new document. It can be anything, and make sure it's like a blank document so you can, if you want to go along, and pick one of these tools. Rectangle tool is what I'm going to use. And then the next thing we're going to do is change this to a shape layer. Now, the difference between a shape layer and like if we use like pixels or something like that, is that the shape layer, when you make it, it goes onto its own layer, and you have the ability to add a fill. You can add a stroke, and then you can add other things like the layer options, like you can add a drop shadow, you can colorize it, you can bevel, and a bunch of other things. So let's get on with this and show you what you can do. So let's start with this fill here. Now this is going to fill the inside of the circle where all this white is. So if I select a color, select blue maybe, it's going to insert the fill there. Now the stroke here is what is around the outside. And right now it's red. I could change that to a different color. I could change it to black. And what's going to determine the size of the stroke is this right here. And right now it's at 3 point. I can move it to less to give it like a small stroke, as you can see there. Or I can make it bigger. Oh, that's way too big. And get a more thick stroke. So then we've got our type of stroke here. These are our stroke options. It could be a dotted line, and this looks better when it's smaller. So if I can make these something like this, like if you want to make a coupon, then you can use this. Then we've got smaller dots, and then we've got these corners here. You can round it off the corners, or you can have end caps on these. You can see that it made them round. This one will keep them square, and then this one will not sure what the difference between that one and this one is. Oh, this one goes out past. So this one goes right to the edge of a square, and this one goes past. Now we've got our align here, where we can align it to the center of the fill. We can align it to the inside, or on the last one, it can align outside, like this. So let's go to more options here, and then we've got more advanced options. You can pick from these presets, and then you could actually make your own and then save it. So that's how you make your own fills. We've got our dimensions here, and this is for the size of the object that you're making. The next thing we have up here in the options is the options here for dealing with multiple shapes. So the first one we can click on here is called Path Operations. And if you ever forget what these are, you can just hold your mouse button on, and this will pop up. So we got Path Alignment and Path Arrangement. So we've got when you create a new shape. Right now it's set to new layer. So if I created a new shape, make it red, it's going to create a new layer. Well, oh yeah, it goes by this fill right here. So it goes by a new layer. Now if I go to combine shapes, let's change the color here. Let's do it to, that's good enough. Let's create a new shape. Now it has combined the shapes here, as you can see, and the fill goes around both of the shapes. Now there's other options here. We could subtract from a shape, make a hole in one of the shapes if we wanted to, and then there's other that you can go over and check out on your own. So just go ahead and mess with those. They're pretty easy to figure out. Then we've got align to the canvas, or we've got align to selection. Now most of these are grayed out, and I'll go over these in the next tutorial where we talk about arranging shape layers. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and select the path selection tool, and if you have two shapes on your one layer, you can click one and you're able to drag it out, and you can drag these around to interact, and they can interact with each other. Now I've got this one that was cut in, and then these. So these shapes can interact with each other if you move them around, and the fill and strokes move around accordingly. The next one we've got here is the if you select one of the shapes with the selection tool, you can bring that shape to the front, send it backwards. If one shape is overlapping another, you can bring it forward using these, or send it backwards so it's behind another shape using that. So if I select this shape, let's make it, it's gonna make them both that. So I actually have to end up showing you that in the next tutorial as well, because these ones aren't set up for it that way. But so what we've got next, I wanted to show you the fill options. So if you click on fill, excuse me, if you click on fill, you have the option to have no fill. You have the option to use a solid color. Here we can use gradients, and we can also use patterns. So you can keep that in mind when you're making your shapes. And we've got our options to add and load patterns and gradients and all that other stuff as well, just like with anything else. Same thing with the stroke here. You can add gradients and things like that to your stroke, or turn it off if you would like by clicking on this with a line through it. That turns off the stroke. And that's all I wanted to go over with about the shape layers for now, for this tutorial. And then in the next tutorial, we can work on arranging the shape layers and messing with them a bit more in more advanced ways. So thanks a lot for watching this one, and be sure to watch the next tutorial about arranging the layers so you can get more of an understanding. Have a good one, everyone.